Alola trainers, my name is Tablemon and today we're going to be taking a look at a new archetype for the Sword and Shield onward standard format in the 2021-2022 season, Rayquaza VMAX with Flaffy from Evolving Skies. Let's take a look. Alright, let's take a look at the list, shall we? First off, we have a 4-3 Rayquaza VMAX line. Now Rayquaza VMAX is the main Pokemon we are going to be playing with. Its ability allows you to discard your hand and draw 3 cards. Obviously, discarding your hand can sometimes be pretty bad, but if you have no or very few cards in hand, especially if you have lightning energy in your hand, you wouldn't mind discarding them because we are playing the Flaffy, okay, which we will get to in a second. But Rayquaza VMAX's ability helps the deck be more consistent, and that's always a welcome addition to the deck. Now, the main attraction of this deck, of this card, is the attack, which does 20 damage plus. Then you get to choose, do you want to discard fire energies or do you want to discard lightning energies? Well, this time around we're going to be choosing to discard lightning energies, and we are going to be doing 80 damage for every lightning energy that we've discarded this way. So if we do some quick math, if we discard 1 lightning, that's 100 damage. If we discard 2, that's 180 damage. Now we're getting to a number which is very close to 1KOing a lot of Pokemon Vs and everything that's not a Pokemon V, right? Any single price Pokemon. Then if we discard 3 lightning energies, we are doing 260 damage. That is more than enough to knock out any of the 2 price Pokemon Vs, any stations, any Urshifus, any opposing Rayquazas, Picoblets, Boltons, anything that you can imagine that is not a VMAX is dealt with that 260 damage, as long as they don't have something like Cave of Toughness attached. And finally, if we discard a 4th lightning energy, we are going to be doing 340 damage. That is the magical number which allows us to 1KO every single Pokemon VMAX and that exists at the moment. The highest HP being Eternatus VMAX right now at 340, and we deal coincidentally exactly that amount of damage. So unless Eternatus has a big charm attached for some reason, you will be 1KOing those Eternatus VMAXs as well if you go up against anything. And then in the 330 HP range we have the Urshifus, and then in the 320 HP range or 310 we have the vast majority of other Pokemon VMAXs. Now, in order to get all those energies onto Rayquaza VMAX, we are going to be utilizing Flaffy. Okay, Flaffy's ability is an ability that historically we have seen in Pokemon for the longest time. I've been playing for 20 years. And getting energy back from the discard pile and attaching to a bench is an ability or a strategy that has been successful for the longest time, over 20 years, and I would fully expect it to continue to be successful, right? Energy and advancing energy, accelerating energy either from hand or from discard pile has always been a game-winning strategy, and Flaffy's ability is similar to Electrike, similar to Malamar, similar to Bronzong, similar to Blaziken, similar to Typhlosion. There's a whole history of cards that get back energy from your discard pile and attach to your Pokemon. So in order to make sure that we have a lot of Flaffys out, we are playing a ton of quick balls, a ton of level balls, and even evolution instances so that we can search for those cards and get our setup along with our Rayquaza VMAXs, of course. Now, we are going to be utilizing some utility Pokemon such as Bolton V, right, which can help us in setting up with its first attack, but also help us do extra damage with a Pokemon that's not a VMAX, like Rayquaza, by doing 30 damage for every lightning energy you have in play. We don't have that many lightning energies as compared to some decks such as Pikarom used to have before rotation. This deck is for post rotation, by the way. This deck is fully customized for Sword and Shield onwards, but Bolton will help with that early game setup if you need to use it in case you didn't get a ton of Marips into play, or you just need an attacker that's a little bit more conservative than the Rayquaza before you go full with the VMAX. We also have access to Picoblep. Its attack that denies items is really useful. It could help you slow the game down if your opponent's getting too far ahead. You can play a boss, trap something in the active, prevent any switches or air balloons from being played, and that could buy you 1 or 2 turns to fully load up your Rayquaza VMAX with your Flaffy's ability and allow you to take KOs that way. So both of these Pokemon very useful and very versatile, and since they utilize lightning type energy, I figured why not include them. Now we also have a single Crowbar to help us draw the extra cards. Sword and Shield onwards should be a much lower pace format than the previous one we were in, because there's no more Dedenne and there's no like hard dig into the deck outside of research. So it's okay for us to slow down a little bit, especially because we have Rayquaza VMAX's ability ready to go when we set that up. Now in terms of supporters, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Professor's Research, 3 Marnies to help us draw cards, find resources, find our setups, and the research also synergizes really well with Flaffy because it gets the lightning energies into the discard pile. And then we're also going to be playing 2 copies of Rose. Now Rose is a supporter that when it first came out, back when Darkness Ablaze was released, I believe, either that or Rebel Clash, I'm not entirely sure. It was released and I said that was a really bad supporter, and at the time I still absolutely stand by that. But now Rose discards your hand, right, and then you get to attach 2 energies to a Pokemon VMAX. That's really helpful against Rayquaza to power up in the active spot, right? And also, if you've discarded your hand, then you can use Rayquaza VMAX's ability to simply draw 3 cards. So there's a lot of synergy between Rose and Rayquaza VMAX. I really like that. And the extra power up in case your Flaffies has been sniped or in case something happened to them or you don't have a switching card, it is a way to power up in the active spot and allow you to dish out more damage that way, which is always good, right? More damage is always good. And then finally we have 3 boss disorders to make sure that we can chase down anything that we need to on the bench. Now I mentioned the consistency cards, the 4 quick balls, the 4 level balls, and the 2 evolution instants do help us in setting up, finding the Pokemon, getting all of them out of the deck and into the field, which is where we want them in order to accomplish what our strategy is, which is powering up Rayquaza VMAX and taking a lot of knockouts. And since Flaffy's ability only powers up Pokemon on the bench, that is why we're playing 3 air balloons along with 3 switches, right? After one Rayquaza VMAX has attacked, either we need to switch it back to the bench, reload it with energy and switch back in, right? That's where the air balloon pivot comes in, or we need to power up a secondary Rayquaza VMAX and switch the active with the new one in order to dish all the damage that we need to, okay? So that is why we're playing 3 switches and 3 air balloons. And finally, to help with the consistency of the deck, we are playing 3 of the new stadiums, Stormy Mountain, which once during your turn, it allows you to search your deck and place on your bench either a Dragon Pokemon or a Lightning Pokemon, which coincidentally are the main combo of this deck. Rayquaza V and Mareep, both of those Pokemon you can search them out, so between level balls, quick balls, and 3 Stormy Mountains, you should not have any issue whatsoever in finding your early game Pokemon so that on turn 2 you can start dishing out that big damage immediately. They also serve as counters to Path to the Peak, which should be a very popular stadium in the future formats, and therefore it's really useful to have Stormy Mountain in order to counter that and be able to use Rayquaza VMAX's ability to continue to draw cards, find the resources that you need in order to win the game. Finally, we have a very healthy count of energy at 12. 12 is like the magical number to try and make sure that most of the time you're going to have 1 energy attachable each and every turn. And by playing the 8 lightning, we have enough to make sure that we are attaching them and then recovering them with the Flaffy. And we have the 4 fire so that we can find them. We do need them to attack. Just lightning energy is not enough. But once we find one, that's going to be good enough because that's the one that should stick on Rayquaza VMAX. Now this deck's main strength is the fact that it can 1-hit KO the 3-price Pokemon, whereas other 3-price Pokemon will really struggle to take a 1-hit KO on Rayquaza VMAX. The downside is that you need a lot of backup in order to accomplish that, and that means having at least 2, probably 3 Flaffies in play, ready to go to continue to power up and dish those knockouts. Rose helps compensate when you don't have a ton of Flaffies, but this deck does need a lot of moving pieces. The reward is there, absolutely. If you manage to set up perfectly, then the reward is there because you get 1-hit KOs on everything, but accomplishing it is easier said than done, right? So it'll be interesting to see where this deck is placed in the metagame. Once we rotate, there is no protection from the bench, so Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is one of the main enemies of this deck. Even though you can one-kill them and they don't one-kill you, they can very easily pick off some of your Mareeps or Flaffies on the bench. So until we get a Pokemon that protects our bench, this deck might struggle against Rapid Strike Urshifu, but against everything else, it should be a pretty solid pick. The combo is very obvious, the combo is very powerful. A deck like this has existed before, has dominated before, and I would be very surprised if Rayquaza VMAX with Flaffy doesn't become a top tier deck immediately once it's released. Will it be the absolute best deck? I don't know, but it will definitely be a contender. Thanks so much, let me know what you think about the list, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye!